In the cold silence of deep space, a small alien patrol ship floated near the edge of Sector 14. The stars here were old and dim, and no ships passed this way anymore. The crew was bored. Nothing exciting ever happened in this forgotten part of the galaxy. Then, one night cycle, the ship's sensors started to beep. Unusual mass detected, the scanner officer said, eyes wide. Something is moving. Fast. The captain leaned forward. What kind of ship? The officer frowned. Unknown. No ID code. No engine signals. It's just there, moving without sound. Everyone on the bridge stared at the screen. A huge black shape was cutting across the stars. It didn't shine. It didn't blink. It was like a piece of space had broken free and started moving on its own. It's not answering hails, the captain said. Send a probe. I want to see what it is. The small probe launched from the patrol ship. It flew toward the dark shape. Live video streamed to the bridge. For a moment, all they saw was metal. Black metal, smooth and silent. Then, just before the screen cut out, they saw something that made every alien freeze in fear. On the hull was a faded symbol, a circle, a blue planet, and a word written in human language. Earth. The feed died. The screen went black. Contact lost, the scanner officer whispered. Silence fell across the bridge. Then the captain stood. His voice was shaky. Send a message to the Galactic Council. Right now. Tell them, we found a human ship. A few hours later, far across the galaxy, the Galactic Council met in panic. Leaders from many alien species sat around a large glowing table. Holograms of the dark ship hovered in the air. This must be a mistake, one counselor said. Humans disappeared 300 years ago. They didn't disappear, another said. They vanished. That's different. They left no trace, not even wreckage. Could this ship be a leftover? Some broken thing floating in space? Then, why is it moving? Why is it showing no heat, no light, no signals? A scientist stood up. He looked tired and afraid. I've studied human tech, he said. They were far ahead of us when they left. If this ship is still working, it's not broken, it's waiting. A long silence followed. Then a message arrived, fresh from a nearby outpost. The council leader read it out loud. Mining station. 41 destroyed. All life signs lost. Last video showed same black ship. We are sending survivors, one recording attached. They played the video. The image shook and flickered, but one thing was clear. The same black hull, the same glowing Earth emblem. Then a voice. Low, cold, human. You forgot us. Everyone in the room felt the air grow heavy. Back at the edge of Sector 14, more ships arrived to look for the ghost ship. But they found nothing. No signals. No remains. The strange shadow had vanished. One scout whispered, "It's like it was never here." But it had been. And now, it was awake. In a hidden chamber deep within a planet-sized archive, a lone alien. Scholar pulled out a sealed file. It was marked with red ink and warning symbols. It read, Project Earth, do not open. Her fingers shook as she broke the seal. Inside, she found old human records, maps, battle reports, and one final message written by a long-dead alien general. If the Earth ship wakes, do not engage, do not follow, do not try to speak. If you see the black hull, run. She sat in silence, reading those words again and again. Somewhere, in the darkness between galaxies, the ship moved quietly. It needed no crew, no orders. It remembered everything. The lies, the betrayal, the silence, the war. It had waited a long time. Now, it had awakened, not to fight, but to warn. And if no one listened, it would do what it was built to do. It would end wars before they began, because this ship was not just a machine, it was the last defender of Earth. The scholar stared at the ancient file. Her name didn't matter. Her planet didn't matter. Only one thing mattered now: the truth. Her claws trembled as she opened the last document in the forbidden archive. The page was old. The ink faded. But one sentence burned into her mind, like fire. Do not wake them. Do not search for Earth. Do not follow the black ships. But it was already too late. In the outer rings of the Andari system, a massive alien battleship floated in silence. It had been guarding the edge of the Empire for 50 years. No enemies had ever come this far. Until now. The censor chief suddenly stood up. Admiral, we have movement. No signal. No ID. The Admiral walked to the main screen. His eyes narrowed. There it was again. The black shadow. No lights. No energy. Trace. No sound. It drifted just past the moons like a ghost. The Admiral laughed. That's the human ship everyone's panicking over? It doesn't even shoot. He ordered the fleet to approach. The fleet moved in, 12 ships, fully armed, ready for war. They surrounded the human vessel from all sides. Send a warning, the Admiral ordered. A message was transmitted. No answer. Fire a warning shot. A pulse beam hit the ship's side. Nothing. The black hull didn't even glow. No shields. No damage. It was like the beam passed through air. Then, the human ship moved. No engines. No thrust. Just movement. A turn. A slow, steady turn. Now it was facing the fleet. And then, the lights came on. Not flashing lights. Not weapons. Just small red symbols along the hull. One by one. As if the ship was waking up, the Admiral shouted, "Raise shields!" Too late. A pulse wave spread from the human ship, silent, invisible. One by one, the alien ships lost control. Weapons jammed, engines failed, lights dimmed. The fleet went dark. Then the Admiral's screen flickered. Static. Then, a face. Human. Pale skin, no expression, eyes like ice. The voice was deep, calm, and terrifying. You copied our tech. You broke the code. This is your warning. Then the face vanished. The ship turned again and disappeared into the stars. Only one scout ship escaped, floating half dead through the void. The pilot had gone silent. He stared ahead, unmoving. The doctors tried to speak to him. What did you see? They asked. The pilot whispered. It looked at me, not just my face, it looked inside me, and it saw everything. Back on the Scholar's world, alarms were sounding. She had sent the files to the Galactic Council. She had read the truth. And now, she knew why everyone had lied for so long. 300 years ago, the galaxy had united against Earth. Not because Earth was evil, but because Earth was too strong. The humans had created ships that could think, weapons that could not be stopped, and minds that refused to be controlled. When the other species demanded Earth's secrets, Earth refused, so they called it hostile. They attacked, and Earth vanished. But not before building something terrible, something eternal. The black ships, left behind to sleep, left behind to remember, left behind to wake up, if the lies returned. And now, they were waking. In the deep void near a dead star, a quiet signal blinked on. Then another, and another. 10, then 20, then hundreds. Old human ships, long lost, long buried, all powering up. They had waited long enough. The Scholar looked out the window of her small home. The stars no longer looked peaceful. They looked like eyes, watching, judging, coming. A fleet of elite warships drifted above the blue gas giant Zal 9. Each ship was armed with the best alien weapons, shielded, armored, fast. Nothing had ever breached their defenses. They were chosen for one mission: find and stop the ghost ship. No one had ever seen fear on a command bridge before, until now. Commander Vole stood with arms crossed, staring at the holoscreen. There it is, said the officer beside him. No signals, no escort, just sitting there. The image zoomed in. The black ship floated above the clouds. No lights, no noise. Still, it hasn't moved in hours, the officer whispered. Commander Vole narrowed his eyes. Then let's wake it up. The fleet surrounded the black ship in formation. Engines hummed, shields pulsed, weapons charged. Open channel, Vole ordered. A glowing circle appeared on the screen. Unknown ship. You are entering protected space. Identify yourself or face action. Nothing. Vole smirked. No answer? Fire across its bow. Make some noise. A beam shot from one of the alien cruisers, cutting across space just meters in front of the black ship. Still, it didn't move. Then, all at once, the lights came on, but not like normal ships. Lines of red light began crawling across its black skin like veins. The hull seemed to pulse, like it was breathing. And then, a sound. Low, deep, mechanical. A voice. You were warned. Without warning, one of the cruisers powered down. Then another. Then 3 more. Systems offline, screamed the engineers. We're losing control. Shields dropped, weapons failed, engines died. The ships were being shut down from a distance. No energy beams, no hacking, no explosions, just silence. Vole's own ship began to flicker. He slammed his hand on the console. All hands, retreat, break formation. Too late. The human ship turned, slowly, and released a burst of light. It was not a weapon. It was a signal. Each alien ship froze mid-flight. They were locked, suspended, engines stuck in time. Vole stared at the black hull. His eyes widened. On the ship's side, letters began to glow in red. Earth Unit 01, final protocol initiated. One cruiser managed to break free and fled at max speed. Inside, the pilot screamed over the radio, "It's not just a ship, it's alive." It looked into me, into my mind. Back at the Galactic Council, leaders watched the live feed, until it went black. The room fell into silence. The head minister stood slowly. "This isn't a weapon," he said. "It's a judge." An ambassador trembled. "Then who is it judging?" The answer came from a scientist in the corner, voice shaky. "All of us." In a hidden data vault under the council tower, emergency lights turned red. A sealed program activated by the appearance of the black ship. Protocol 9. Only 3 people in the galaxy had access to this file. One of them opened it. It showed a message, recorded 300 years ago. A human general stared into the camera. "If you're watching this and we are gone, you lied. You betrayed us. But we left a shadow behind. A ship that remembers. And if it wakes, you've broken the peace. This ship carries our memory, our pain, our truth. If it speaks to you, listen, or you will not survive." Far away in the dark edges of the galaxy, more black ships lit up one by one. No signals. No fleet tags. No living crew. Just silence. And red glowing words. Final protocol. Active. Across 10 systems, military networks failed. Defense satellites turned off. Battle stations lost power, and every screen lit up with the same message: "You forgot Earth. We did not forget you." The stars were no longer safe. The past was no longer dead. The humans were not back. Their ships were, and that was worse. In the heart of the galactic core, a research station floated above a burning star. It was home to the brightest scientists in the galaxy, creatures with 6 eyes, glowing skin, and minds faster than light. They studied stars, time, warped matter, but today, they studied something else. A human ship. The only surviving data from the Exal 9 encounter had arrived. Blurry images, energy scans, pieces of a nightmare. Dr. Vesh, the lead scientist, examined the reports. "This isn't possible," he whispered. He ran the readings again, then again. "It has no power source," he said. "It's moving, but it has no engines. It doesn't burn fuel. It doesn't even leave heat behind. His assistant stared at him. Then how is it moving? Dr. Vesh looked up slowly. It's not flying. It's bending space. The council demanded answers. They demanded results. So Dr. Vesh and his team built a simulation. They recreated the ghost ship structure using the data. It collapsed their system 3 times. On the 4th try, the station itself started shaking. We must shut it down. Someone screamed, too late. The lights went out. Then every screen on the station turned black and displayed a single red word. Observing. Panic, confusion, terror. The human ship wasn't just a weapon. It was watching, listening. It knew when someone was studying. The scientists shut down the simulation. The station returned to normal, but the fear stayed. Dr. Vesh locked his lab and opened the deepest archive. One file, locked by an ancient code. He broke it. Inside was a report from 300 years ago, a report about Earth's final ship project. It was called the Sleeper. The report read, "The Sleeper is not built to win wars. It is built to stop them before they start. It has no crew, no master. It decides what is a threat. If awakened, do not attack, do not approach, do not lie." Back at the council, the leaders sat in fear. "We need to destroy it," one shouted. "With what?" another asked. It shut down an entire fleet by waking up. The screen before them showed a map. Red dots, each one a ghost ship, were appearing across space. One leader stood and asked the question no one wanted to say. What if this is just the beginning? Across the stars, black ships were rising from oceans, moons, even the core of old planets. They had been hidden there, buried, sleeping. Now they were returning, and each one had the same message burned into its hull. Earth Protocol, final phase. In a mining colony on a desert world, a child digging in the sand found a strange black wall. It wasn't rock, it was metal. His hands brushed off dust, revealing a faded symbol, a circle with lines around it, the Earth emblem. Suddenly, the wall pulsed with light. The boy stepped back. The wall opened. A door, a stairway, leading down into the planet. And deep below, another ship woke up. The alarms spread across the galaxy. Entire navies scrambled to prepare. But weapons no longer worked. Computers shut down. Satellites blinked out one by one. The human ships weren't attacking. They were reminding the galaxy of something, of Earth, of what was taken, of what was forgotten. And above every world touched by these ships, the same signal repeated over and over. You said we were gone. You were wrong. In a cold, forgotten moon near the edge of the galaxy, a single file was found deep underground, buried beneath layers of metal, stone, and silence. The creature who found it wasn't a soldier, not a leader, just a maintenance worker repairing broken tunnels. He cracked open a rusted hatch and found a glowing cube inside. It pulsed once, then whispered, "Do you want to know the truth?" Across the galaxy, governments panicked. Ships were vanishing. Systems were falling dark. Human ghost ships weren't firing. They were disabling entire civilizations without violence. And the worst part? No. One knew why, until that worker brought the cube to the surface. Within it was a recording locked for 300 years. They played it in secret, deep in the Galactic Tower. A human face appeared, calm, tired, angry. To those who watch this, you erased our name. You called us monsters. But it was you who betrayed the peace. You who struck first. You stole our knowledge. You turned allies into enemies. You feared what we became. So you tried to bury us. But we left seeds behind. This is not revenge. This is memory. And memory never dies. The leaders stared at the screen in silence. Then one of them, a council elder, stood up slowly. "I was there," he whispered. "I was young. But I remember." All eyes turned to him. They made a deal with Earth and broke it. They took technology. They feared how fast the humans were evolving. He swallowed hard. So they destroyed Earth's satellites, blocked its signals, cut it off from the stars. Another leader asked, "What did Earth do?" The Yaar elder looked at him. "They disappeared and took their vengeance with them." Meanwhile, more human ships were waking, not just floating in space, rising from the ground, from oceans, from undercities, each one older than the last, each one more advanced, and each one carried the same echo. "Return what you stole." The truth spread fast now. People whispered it in alleys, across stations, on warships. Earth had not vanished. It had hidden, on purpose. They had built their final ships in secret, filled them with memory, and told them, if we are ever erased, wake, and remind them who we were. On a border planet, a captain of the alien navy tried to stop one of the ships. He flew straight at it, screaming defiance. The ship didn't move. The captain's engines stopped. His ship froze in space. His screen turned red, and then it spoke his language, using his voice. "You are not the enemy, but you obey them. So you must choose." The screen went black. The captain was left drifting, weeping in silence. Deep inside the council's war room, generals demanded answers. "How do we fight this? We can't. They're not attacking. They're rewriting everything, systems, history, minds, without lifting a weapon. Then what do they want?" At that moment, all across the galaxy, the human ships began broadcasting the same message in every language, on every channel. "We don't want your surrender. We want your memory. Tell the truth. Say our name. Say what you did." The council was silent, because now the galaxy knew. They buried Earth's truth, and now the truth was rising. With black hulls, with silent power, with justice in every shadow. The sky above the capital world turned black, not from clouds, not from night, but from shadows, long, wide, and silent. Dozens of human ships appeared without warning. No engine trails, no warp flashes. They just decloaked, as if the stars themselves pulled back to reveal them. The cities below fell silent. People stood frozen, staring up. Then one ship, larger than all the rest, lowered itself into the atmosphere. Its hull was smooth black metal, shaped like a dagger. On its side, ancient words glowed in red. Earth Protocol, Final Phase. In the Galactic Council's chamber, alarms screamed. "Get our fleet in position." "They're already here! Why didn't we detect them?" There were no signals, no entry points, no sound. One voice cut through the panic. A quiet scientist said, "They've been here all along." In the middle of the capital city, the largest ship opened, not with violence, not with fire, just a hiss and a ramp. And then it stepped out, a human, wearing armor as dark as space. No weapons, no helmet, just eyes that had seen centuries. The city watched, the council watched, the galaxy watched. The human said nothing, but every screen, on every world, suddenly lit up with one sentence, spoken in every language. "You ended the treaty. Now you face what you buried." The council leader approached the edge of the tower, his voice shaking. "What do you want from us?" The human didn't move. Another message appeared. "Truth. Acknowledgement. Memory." "You want history?" The leader shouted. "You want statues? A holiday?" The human raised one finger, and at that moment, every weapon on every planet, failed fighter jets dropped from the sky, orbital guns shut down, nuclear cores cooled. The entire galaxy's war tech died, not from attack, from command. The human didn't flinch. He simply said one word, spoken aloud for the first time in 300 years. Peace. But peace with a warning. The human walked through the streets alone. People hid. Soldiers backed away. He touched a wall. It shimmered and showed an old video. Humans and aliens standing together, before the betrayal, before the silence. He looked around, then turned back toward his ship. No fighting, no destruction, only memory. And as he entered the ship again, the sky filled with more of them. Thousands, not attacking, just watching. guarding. A whisper spread across the stars. Humans have returned. Not with war, not with words, but with power so complete, they didn't need to fight. They had come not to rule, but to remind. In a backwater moon, a child looked up at the glowing sky. "Who are they, really?" he asked. An old trader beside him, eyes wet, said quietly, "They were the ones we betrayed, and they came back stronger than we ever imagined." The stars were quiet now, not because of peace, but because of fear, respect, memory. The human ships hovered like black statues across star systems. They didn't move, they didn't speak, but every leader, every fleet, every planet watched them with held breath. They weren't invaders. They were witnesses, and the galaxy had no choice but to remember what it tried so hard to forget. In the council's grand chamber, the leaders sat, in silence. Before them, the humans stood, still as stone, eyes calm, words few. "You lied," the human said. "You erased our name. You called us dangerous." But the truth was simple. He turned his gaze toward the stars on the giant display. "You feared what Earth could become." One counselor spoke softly. "You were changing too fast. You unlocked things we didn't understand." The human nodded. "So you stole, and when we refused to kneel, you buried us." A long pause. "Now we remember, and now you will." 2. On every world, the skies lit up. Holograms projected above cities, deserts, oceans. The real history played for all to see. Footage of Earth's rise, of the peace treaties, of the betrayal, of the last human fleet vanishing into the void, of warnings ignored, of lies spoken. The galaxy watched. Children stared, soldiers cried, old veterans dropped to their knees. They had all been living in a lie, and now the lie was broken. On a farm moon, a farmer looked up as the black ship shimmered in the sky. "They don't speak," he whispered to his daughter. "They just wait." "What are they waiting for?" she asked. He answered without looking away. "For us to say it. For us to admit what we did." Finally, the council sent a single final message to Earth's ships. "We are sorry. We broke the peace. We buried your truth. And we promise, never again." They didn't ask for forgiveness, because they knew they didn't deserve it. One by one, the black ships responded, not with words, but by slowly turning away, heading back to the dark, not in retreat, but in return, to silence, to shadows, to watch. The human stood at the edge of his ship's ramp one last time. He looked at the stars. "Mission complete," he said. The ramp closed, and the ship vanished, like smoke blown from a candle. Across the galaxy, every school began teaching new history, the true history. Statues were raised, not of war heroes, but of the first Earth fleet, arms lowered, not raised. The galaxy remembered, not because it was forced, but because it must never forget again. And somewhere, in the deep dark between galaxies, the black ships waited. Silent, still, watching, because if the truth is ever buried again, they will return.